Yeah, tonight on the main feature of the show, I am joined by, I was told, 3 people that worked on the new movie Tribal, Get Out Alive. I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, I've got 7. So 5, 6, 7. That's awesome. Tonight I have Matt Routledge, the director of the movie. I have Zara. I did ask the last name a couple of minutes ago, but I'm not going to attempt it. Zara's here as well. I have Ross O'Hennessy, the main lead as well. I have Matt Gray in here as well, Rachel Warren, and Thomas Dodd. How is everyone?
Hey,
fantastic. Thanks for having us, Kevin.
Good, thank you.
This is awesome. I'm quite looking forward to getting into this, because this movie, I'm not going to lie, it took me by surprise. It's one of these ones that I kept seeing on the Facebook and seeing people sort of posting around when it was all behind the scenes kind of thing about a year ago, or when you guys were filming. I was like, yeah, this does look interesting, but yeah, you've gone above and beyond for a low budget indie here.
Awesome to hear, because that was the whole point, I think, wasn't it, Matt? To film with it, to push the budget as much as we can and deliver a sort of high quality, high production level, independent micro budget film.
Definitely. It's mad that you would even call this a micro budget, because it looks absolutely gorgeous, but we will get into that in a little bit. So yeah, the first thing I like to do, obviously the current world situation and the pandemic and everything, I want to know how was everyone's lockdown?
Oh, fantastic.
Grayson was fantastic. I think it was welcome on my side. It allowed us, I think we started filming Tribal last year, so it's taken a whole year turnaround from when we were filming to post-production to release. So it's only been 12 months, but sometimes it can seem a bit longer, and sometimes like, oh wow, 12 months has flown by. But for us, lockdown was great because we just finished principal photography. Tribal was in post-production, so it gave us the opportunity to finish all the post on Tribal, and then get that to the sales agents and the distributors and get it out there. So that was really good. Obviously my business went into lockdown. We closed as well, so again that allowed me to work on different scripts and things like that as well. So I kind of enjoyed the lockdown period and made the most of it and tried to be as productive as possible. Yeah,
it's been a tricky time for everyone, really. But what I have found is, like, guys like yourselves in the creative industry, even though you've kind of been left behind a little bit by the government, I guess, but there's a lot of creative stuff coming out of all this, which I'm loving seeing, and it's quite an exciting time coming on the other side of it as well. Would you guys maybe agree with that? Or
I think during lockdown, everybody was able to connect. I mean, I don't know how many, probably Ross was playing with dinosaurs all the time.
Ross has got a new castle.
Ross has a castle. But able for all of us to kind of connect and be creative. And I don't know about you guys, in terms of, I'd call it like pre-development of building platforms for future films. And I've been casting a couple of roles that I can't say anything about at the moment, they were meant to be shooting in October, but now again it's the whole lockdown. We don't know if we're going to be locked down again in October at the moment, but there's been opportunities to network as kind of a producer more than an actor, in terms of developing my own projects and building a platform for moving forward to assure that I can get acting roles and bring people I've worked with before into my things to make sure that we all can still work. So it's been kind of that productive. So I'm excited for next year, but I just need COVID to jog on a little bit so that we can get back there.
Do one.
We all do, yeah. We all do. But you guys found the Tribal comes out on the 17th of August, but you guys had an online premiere as well, which is pretty awesome. And is that like something that you maybe wouldn't have thought of before this?
Would have loved to have the red carpet event, definitely. Yeah. And that was the initial plan. And then after that, obviously we couldn't have that. That wouldn't have been possible. We were looking at sort of an outdoor cinema event, drive-in experience. Yeah. But again, just because of COVID and lockdown and availability and things like that, we decided to go for the online premiere, which I think was quite unique for Evolutionary Films as well. They hadn't done that before, but we just wanted to make sure the cast and the crew had the opportunity to see the film, because for myself, for Tom, and for Matt, we've seen this film multiple times now. But for like Rachel, Ross, and Grayson, it was the first time you guys saw it on Monday, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Oh, sorry, Rachel, carry on.
No, great.
No, so yeah, it was. So I think, like Zara was saying, obviously I'm sure we all, the plan was to see it before. So I know myself, I'm sure Rob, or everyone that hadn't seen it, we were itching to see it because there was a delay on it. I know I was like, I think I spoke to Ross and even Rachel a few times, like, I just want to see the movie now. But yeah, I think it went really well. And it's been good feedback from a lot of people. Reviews are coming out well as well. I'm happy. I'm happy with how my character came out. I hope that the team were happy with it as well. But I think everyone did an amazing job. I was really impressed with the whole cast and crew, and it's incredible to see again when you were talking about the budget, what was made and achieved by the team. Zara, Vic, Tom, and the Dodd family, Matt, and everyone on such a small budget. You would think it was so much more than what it was. It was incredible.
Definitely. And Matt and Ross, did you guys enjoy the premiere as well, or you did a little Q&A as well, didn't you?
So I got a little story to tell you about the online premiere. So I was using my phone for the Zoom premiere, and then casting from my phone to my big TV.
Nice.
And the funny thing was that there was like a second's delay. So I actually ended up watching the entire film twice. I'd watch it on my phone, and then I looked on the TV, and then when someone screamed on the phone, they screamed on the TV 2 seconds later, and I just kept doing this for the hour and 25 minutes.
That's good if you've got a favourite scene, though. You get to see it twice.
Yeah.
Matt, what's your favourite scene in the film?
Favourite scene in the film? To be honest, I've got a few favourite scenes. I really like the butcher scene, which is obviously the one where you've got quite a good blend of the action and the horror in that scene. It's quite tense, which is something obviously we really wanted to make the film as tense as possible. And that scene really encapsulates pretty much everything we wanted to do with the film. But there's so many other good scenes. One of the bits I really like in the film is the bit where Grayson spills the I think it's like the test tubes. And it's his reaction and Ross's reaction. I just really like that. There's some little bits like that which I really think are really cute. And
I think that's Ross and Grayson in real life, though, isn't it?
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Very, very big romance, the two of them. Romance.
Scenes like that can make or break these movies, and they tend to make, because you have a moment of high tension and then it's just quickly broken down by a subtle glance from Ross. It's sort of like, dude, what the hell? It's nice. It's awesome to see that kind of thing.
The funny thing is about it, sorry, I just want to say, just reminded, the funny thing about doing that scene, so Matt came to me and Natalie, who was setting up, she went, right, everyone, please don't touch anything because we have things with booby trap. So I actually I went, ooh, okay, so I'm going to be playing with that. I just wanted to go through my head how I would do it. And I actually, for real, touched it and just set everything off. So I was like, yeah, I'm just going to walk over, just stay over here now. So that's just a memory for me.
The great thing about you doing that, Grayson, was when I looked at you and thought in my head, what a knob, I could do it for real.
See in real life.
So we're gonna jump into Tribal in a quick second, but something we've not really done as of yet. We've been having our little chat and a little preamble. Is I would like to go around the room and everybody just sort of introduce themselves and their part in the movie, and we'll move on from there.
Hi guys, my name's Zara Vivian and I play Caitlin in Tribal.
Hello everyone, I'm Ross O'Hennessy and I play the role of Brad.
I'm Thomas Dodd and I play Richard Kenning in the new film Tribal.
Guys, my name's Grayson Matthews and I play Ollie Wright in Tribal.
Hi, I'm Rachel Warren and I play Rebecca in Tribal.
Hi everyone, I'm Matt Rutledge and I'm the director of Tribal.
Awesome, awesome. So that was, we'll just get that away. That wasn't awkward at all, guys. That was. I am absolutely crap at doing elevator pitches and doing blurbs on movies or anything like that, unless it's written. I'm pretty good at that. But Matt, why don't you let everybody know what the movie is and what it's about and how good it is?
Okay, well, it's about a team of bailiffs that go to a property to basically survey the property, trying to shut it down. And unfortunately, certain things happen to them when they get to the property. They kind of get brought into these underground catacombs. And am I allowed to say spoilers? I guess I am, aren't I? They get hunted underground by a pile of creatures. So that's basically the story for the film.
Spoiler.
Gone.
I was going to say it's your movie, so you can spoil it if you want. So, Matt,
Yeah.
you are the director of the movie, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw this one your way. Where on earth did this movie come from, and how did you become involved in it?
Well, it was actually from a script that both Zara and Vic, who are the producers of Tribal, came up with. They approached me with the project. A very, very heavy action horror content. Totally something I was really interested in. Obviously, I was really interested in working with Zara again because we had a bit of let's say, a misfire about 10 or 11 years ago when we tried to work on a film together, and it very nearly did happen. Fortunately, this time it did happen, and obviously I was very keen to work with her, and she'd compiled this great cast already in the film of to play all the different parts. And for me, it was just a case of getting back into doing features again. It's been a long time since I did one, and breaking out of the short film thing, and obviously wanting to put a lot more martial arts in the film because my background's primarily martial arts based. I wanted to inject a lot of that in there, and also work on the story a bit more, and try and create something that obviously both action and horror audiences would both relate to and enjoy. And I really hope they do.
Yeah, I think they're gonna. It's a fantastic blend of nice dark horror and like you say, you're down in some nice dark catacombs, which is always good in a horror movie. But then you've got some nice, as I like to call it, punchy, kicky stuff. So
Yeah,
who doesn't like that? So Rachel, Thomas, and Zara, you guys are all in the movie, but you're all producers as well on the movie. So how did your producing role come to this? How did you guys get involved in the film?
So Vic and I, or Vic predominantly, already had the concept of Tribal, which was a different story to what it is now. And Thomas was very much, I mean, you can back this up in a minute, Thomas, wanted to get into films and filming and be an actor, and you already had an idea and a concept for a different feature film to work on and to produce. So we collaborated together for this particular film for Tribal, Get Out Alive, in sort of the essence to give Tom a platform, and also for myself to it's not my first job since I had my knee surgery. I've done multiple jobs since. I'm working on crutches and not 100% fit. So this was my first job really in a lead role, being fully fit post knee surgery. So for me, I wanted to sort of have that platform for myself. We built the platform for Tom as a breakout role for him as well, and then collaborated. And then worked with Ross many times. Ross is a good friend of ours. So Ross was one of the first people that we brought on board and approached to play the role of Brad. And then same with Grayson and Rachel as well. So Vic was sort of looking for actors that we'd worked with before, that we sort of heard of, that we'd known, that we thought would fit the Tribal concept and the characters perfectly. And they were almost kind of written around the characters and the actors that we brought on board as well. So, and that's when Matt then came on board as well. And then the story changed and the concept changed, and Johnny Walker kind of rewrote the script. But I guess, essentially, like Rachel already mentioned, sort of, in this lockdown time, it's basically sort of being proactive and building platforms for yourself to kind of keep working and to work with fellow colleagues and network with people as well.
Cool. And Thomas?
Yeah, Zara's just pretty much covered.
Yeah.
Like the bases there. Like as she said, I started getting into film about 6 years ago, doing like really like low budget stuff and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? As most people do get into this game. And then I got on set and I looked around and I sort of in my head worked out, okay, this is what's going on here. So I formulated the plan, got in contact with some good friends through the martial arts world, Zara and Vic, and obviously with my connections in the martial arts world, as well as Zara's and this, that, and the other, we got the action together there. Yeah, that's nothing really that Zara hasn't already said. I wanted to get into film. I got into film. I went and see my friends, and this is my breakout role.
And let's be honest, we'll get to it in a little bit, but it's a pretty good breakout role. So Rachel.
Tom smashed it. Jesus. I gushed to him actually at some point. So when I was casting it, I always try and think of ways of how to help a production more than just the acting side. And so at the time we spoke about distribution and things. So I made a connection and stuff like that. So I got very, very thankful for getting an associate producer credit, because I am now working towards producing my own content and my own stuff. So they've definitely helped with giving me an associate producer credit on this. So yeah.
Rachel's definitely pro networking, aren't you, Rach? You're definitely sort of very positive and help people connect together and sort of make contacts. I think she was fantastic in that essence, and basically, even though she was playing the role of Rachel, she very much had the film's back in terms of what we were going to do with the film and where it was going to go, and very interested in that as well. So I think that was fantastic to have Rachel on board as an associate producer.
And this is
a workhorse.
And this is the second movie in a row that I've seen Rachel. I don't want to do any spoilers, but meet a little bit of a sticky finish. Are you planning on becoming the British independent Sean Bean?
You know me. Yeah.
and Ross and Grayson, I mean, it seems like these roles were kind of written for you guys. It was based around for you guys coming on, and how's that as an actor?
When it came to me coming on board, it was networking again. I remember speaking to Vic and Sarah about it. They said at the time that they'd seen my show reel, and Vic mentioned a few times that he looked at my show and went, yeah, this, he's got some quite comedic moments, and, it could really fit for Ollie. The only funny thing I found was when I was looking back at my show reel, I was like, where's my comedic bits? I don't know where's the comedy? Okay, but I'll go with it because it got me the role. But that's how I kind of came on board with, that's how I was on board with that one.
Cool. And Ross?
I said yes to working with Zara and Vic, and I hadn't even read the script or even knew what it was. I just said, yes, I like them, I trust them, I trust their integrity, and they always seem to catch me when I'm very down and very depressed, and that's how they get me to work with them. No, I'm joking. No, if Vic and Zara say they're doing it, I trust them, and I absolutely trust their integrity in the film world, so if they want to do it, I'll do it with them.
Awesome. It's always good to hear stuff like that, definitely, especially in this business. And so Zara, you're a stunt performer, you're a choreographer, you're a producer and all this, but you're also playing a character of Caitlin, which has some very deep-rooted PTSD in the movie. Mm-hmm. How did you get into this role? Like with all those different plates to spin, how were you able to sort of get into this character?
There was a lot of plates to spin. There was a lot, and I tried not to drop any of them. I think it was important sort of for the character background of Caitlin, for the audience to be able to kind of relate to her, and instead of just having a military background, we wanted it to have some kind of not necessarily issues, but just something that people could relate to, something that would make her more human and have to sort of not necessarily kind of be the damsel in distress, but have to kind of battle these demons and be able to, try and sort of have her own personal fight, as well as sort of try and, work with Brad in the film, and then the sort of bailiff team, and then sort of be on this sort of survival journey as well. So I think it was important in the sort of the character build-up of Caitlin to kind of have this kind of background story. And I know that it's not sort of delved into too much in this film as to what actually happened, but the audience know that she suffers from PTSD, and there are these moments in the film where you see that. And yeah, I think it was challenging to kind of have those emotional moments in the film, but again, I think that helps with the portrayal of her sort of to sort of be a real character that people kind of identify with, because we all sometimes, you know, have things that we're suffering with, or, you know, our own demons that we have to kind of deal with and fight through, whether that's, you know, addiction or PTSD or whatever that might be. So I think that was really a nice touch on the character, and yeah, so hopefully people can identify with her and relate to her, and she feels like a human character in the film.
Definitely. And Ross, you get to sort of play not only like the badass to the left, but you also get to play sort of the emotional crutch to this character. And so how was it to sort of carry her along?
Before we answer that one, I'm going to tell you how good Zara was in this film. So I've got a tendency to get lost a lot when I'm driving. And Zara's laughing because she had to take on board the role of being my personal sat nav. So she'd send me the postcode of where it had to be, and then I always leave early because I know I always get lost. And I'd phone her and I'd be, Zara, I'm in Nottingham. I'm not supposed to be here, am I? And she'd be like, no, you're supposed to be in Liverpool. All right, I'm on my way.
It's awesome.
Ross did that on one of the rehearsals. He missed off a digit on the postcode, so he was like half an hour away. He'd been there like 3 hours, and he was like, "Where are you guys?" I'm like, "Where are you?" Like, "We're here," and he was on the other side of the town. But yeah, so it's okay. I'm here to help Ross.
So back
just to add on that as well, like I would get text messages from Ross saying, "So where are we today, then, mate?" That's all. I'm like, yeah, so we're here today, Ross. How are you? We all right? How's the journey? Nothing.
No.
Okay. As long as he gets his information, nothing after that.
What time are we on set?
Yeah. Not even a hi. How are you?
To the point. And back to the role of Brad. It was the Brad character is the bit of the crutch for Caitlin in it. But I think it's important. It was important for us when we played it to make sure that there was equal balance, that they were equal to each other, not one greater than the other. That there was times when Brad was down and Caitlin helped, and there's times when Caitlin was down and Brad helped, and that camaraderie was brought to life, obviously, because we're great friends as well. That really is one of the things that many reviewers have picked up on, is the the dialogue and the obvious connection between us as friends.
Yeah, I could see that definitely, and Grayson has the comic relief. You know, you get all the good lines, or you get scowled at every now and then, and that's quite an important role in any movie.
It's good fun.
So it's a bit of a horror thriller, and it has got a lot of action in it. And Matt, as the director, I was wondering, so how important was it for you to make sure there's the right balance of horror to action?
Very. I think obviously I had to always remember essentially it is a horror film. That is what we were trying to create, is a horror film, but there's no harm in putting as much action in there as possible. And obviously we've got quite a lot of the cast, particularly obviously Zara, Ross, Tom, all with martial arts backgrounds, you know, all different styles, whether it's Taekwondo, kickboxing, Krav Maga, and it's basically trying to showcase their abilities as best they can, as well as trying to subtly put as much action scenes in there to keep obviously the audience going, you know, whether we put them in every 10 or 15 minutes. That was something that I did mention to Johnny when he was writing the script. And I was very specific about the end, how I wanted the end. I basically told him what I wanted for the end of the film to be. So I said, it's got to be, you know, Zara versus Tom, Ross versus Crun, you know, it's got to be those, because they're the ones the audience are going to want to see fight each other. You know, they're going to want to see Ross fight the big guy. They're going to see, you know, Zara and Tom they're quite suited in terms of styles of kickboxing. So really, sometimes you've also got to understand the audience you're making it for as well. And the blend, it was all about the blend. It was making it basically a martial arts action horror, primarily an action horror, but with martial arts scenes inserted into the film.
And on that, and on the blend, I guess, and getting everything right, the movie it's billed as kind of like a low budget, micro budget, which just makes me laugh, to be completely honest, because the stunt work in this movie, the effects in this movie, the props in this movie, the locations, the cinematography. I mean, Jesus Christ, the caves, even the dark ass caves look gorgeous in this film. Like, how did you go about making sure you got everything like that to top quality that you did on a shoestring budget? And I guess we would say that to Matt and the producers, really.
Yeah, I had a bit of a team that I assembled. Obviously, I had to ask the producers' permission, Tom, Vic, and Zara, and I brought on board Steve Webster, who I've worked with before on a horror film. And he gave it a very nice look. He knew how to light the scenes that we wanted, and tried to get it not so dark, but bright enough so you could see what was going on, particularly bright enough so you could see the martial arts scenes, because a lot of films tend to make those a bit too dark, and intentionally so. That's the style they want. But for us, we wanted to see the performers perform, so we didn't want to make it too dark. But also, I brought on board the musician and the sound designer to try and obviously bolster the post-production side of the film as well, because making a good film, you need every kind of aspect. You need every element. You need the great cast, great music, great sound, great lighting cameraman. And obviously, as you know, when you're doing it on a lower budget, an independent film, they're the boxes you've got to tick. You've got to make sure you've got those in there. And the other thing is it's always great working with people you worked with before, and you know they can deliver a job for you, a very, very competent job, and they'll, almost, how can I put it, put their back out to make it look great for you as well. And I think that's what we got on Tribal. We had a very nice vibe on set. It was a great kind of family atmosphere. Obviously a testament to the Dodd family. Tom's family were, a huge help in bringing the film together.
To interrupt, Saxton is making his gold appearances on these interviews, which is amazing. Exactly what Matt said, that was absolutely brilliant, and absolutely so, but we also kind of really pulled in resources as much as possible. I think already having, the awesome cast on board, that kind of part of it was already sort of done, and we were confident with from the outset. So then having Matt on board to kind of, find the right DOP, with the right kind of style of shooting and things like that was very important. And then Matt already had connections with the sound engineer and things like that as well. And then later in post-production, I just got to give a shout out to Diane Flanagan. So she was our head of makeup, and we had such a limited cast. She did an amazing job on the makeup and the prosthetics and things like that. So she really, like Matt said, was one of the people that really sort of broke her back and put in hours and hours and hours and hours.
Definitely.
But we sort of put in resources, and Tom was very much a part of that in sort of connecting people and getting people on board as well in Liverpool, because we shot predominantly in Liverpool, and asking for favors, asking for mates rates, kind of all that kind of thing to sort of really keep within the budget. And I think we did a good job with that. And I think when we first approached Matt, we're like, look, this is the budget. I think as much as Matt, like the concept and the story, he was like, okay. but we've done it, so all we need now is a bigger budget, and then this is what we can do with this size budget. So just think what we could do with a much bigger budget than this. And I think I'm so proud of everybody. It's definitely a collective team effort, but I think we've sort of stamped our ground now and kind of set the benchmark for ourselves, and hopefully things only go up and up and up from here.
Definitely. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of great things coming out of British cinema right now, and it's especially on the independent scene. And really, really, I feel like there's a real buzz around British independent right now. The things that people are doing, and yourselves included with this film. I mean, I kind of feel like Tribal could kick it with some of the bigger boys as well, because it does look genuinely, and I'm not just saying it because everyone's here, but it does look genuinely fantastic. Yeah, now I'm gonna be really super cringe here, because I'm a Brit, and like any good Brit who loves a good Brit movie, we love our Brit bad guys. And Mr. Thomas Dodd, Jesus Christ, you are a dickbag in this movie.
I am. I play it well.
You play it very well. I'm going to say it. I don't know if it's the Scouse in you, but you play it very well.
I've got plenty of experience now in wrestling. I do.
But from the moment you come on the scene, I don't think there was even any attempt to try and play it like I'm going to be a good guy for the first 10 minutes and then sort of start turning. You just come on the scene and you're like, straight away I'm looking at you thinking, yeah, this is the villain of the movie and I'm loving him already. So yeah, what was it like getting to play just that role?
It was amazing getting to act, like, just throwing back to the question before as well. All these people came to work for us for a lot less than they usually would have. I'm just going to put that out there. As you say, you got the likes of Ross O'Wennessy, Rachel and Grace in there, who they come on for Mates Rates, basically. And a lot of people, Matt post-production, he got them all on for Mates Rates. Zara's connections in the beginning were really what enabled us to be able to have the clout to be able to go and approach these different investors and people for money and to be able to get the favours on board. So I just wanted to add that from the last question. Yep. And what was this question again?
Just what was it like playing a dickbag?
Yeah. Pretty much like it now, listen. I get right into my roles because I'm a martial artist and things like that. I've got a lot of, I like to go into psychology and things like that. For this role, I did study a load of dickbags, if you like. So I was looking at psychopaths, like people like, as I've said it before, the Joker, or even like these people like Jeffrey Dahmer and like, just all these The Hills Have Eyes sort of people. Just like, I wanted to go from this like general psychopathic human or like sociopathic human to an actual monster, do you know what I mean? But I didn't want to do it like too like jaggedly, or like I wanted to do it sort of smoothly as best as I could. And with it being my first film, there was and being around all these guys, I really have to dig deep to keep up with them, just because like I was intimidated, to be honest, being around them, because everyone's just so good. You got Matt on the camera and absolutely knows his stuff. Obviously, they've all been in all these different films, and this is really my first major acting role. So, like when I let loose, it sort of feels good. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes, and then sometimes it doesn't, because I'd be walking around like getting myself all wound up or getting this, that, and the other. So, like when you see me angry or something, that's me legitimately angry. That's not me pretending to be angry. That's me absolutely like in whatever state you see me in. Do you know what I mean? So. It was a lot of hard work, but it was really rewarding.
We all just like to play the villains of the movie. It's the best part.
It's cool, isn't it?
So on that, Grayson, was there ever a part when you were sitting there and you were like, I really like the character I'm playing, but I want that one?
I mean, like you said, yeah, I'd love to play a villain role, but I personally enjoyed when I read the script for the first time and how Ollie was going to be. The way I saw it, I thought in my head, okay, because like Zara said earlier, the script changed from the beginning, the story at the beginning to what it is now. But I saw my characters kind of like Marmite. You're either going to love him or hate him in aspects. So at the beginning, I think I'm all like kind of, think I'm hilarious in my own right. And you've got Ross, Rachel, and everyone, even Zara, like looking at me like you're just a dick. So not in real life. I mean the character. No, I'm joking. But no, it's looking at Tom. There was times I was on set and I was like, oh, he's such a, the village. There's playing a villain is a meaty role to do. So it's definitely something I want to look at in the future, because I played serious roles, but comedy is where I wanted to go. So I was glad that I was able to do it in this one. But no, yeah, just to shout out to Tom, I was really blown away by his performance and everyone's performance. Ross was all right, but he could do some work. I'll take him under my wing one day. But everyone did a phenomenal job, and Zara as the lead as well was fantastic. Rachel was great. Everybody was great. So.
I do think everybody in the movie is genuinely fantastic, and everybody plays their roles extremely well. And one of my actual favourite scenes, we're going to get to favourite scenes in a second. I know Matt's kind of already given his, but I love the scene with Rachel and Ross when Rachel sort of disappears. I don't really want to say too much about it, but that scene, you guys are just nailing it together, like sort of looking at each other. It's a great little scene. I want to shout that out. So how did you guys find that to shoot?
I personally, when I have to go quite, normally I play the psychopaths and the crazy people. So this one for me was quite a challenge because I had to bring my acting really down. And I just remember looking at Ross, and because I have such I love Ross to bits, and I have this friendship with Ross, and we bonded over the course.
Yeah.
So I actually looked at him as, I know it's Brad, but my emotions that I was connecting with Ross.
Yeah.
That, it gets me now, and then that happening, that picked me up. So that's how I got there, to make sure that it was real. Is that enough? Is that 10?
Yes. So yeah, without spoiling it, I don't want to spoil the scene because it's genuinely a really good scene. But the reason I do bring it up is, and without going into it, the way Ross picks you up, yeah, that there's a massive sense of realism there, and I love that scene.
The way Ross picks her up was like this. Oh! She's only a little lass, but she weighs a ton.
That's the only reason I bring that up. What is your favourite scene in the movie? Matt, you've kind of already said yours, but would you like to start again, or just move over to Ross, or it's up to you?
Yeah, move over to Ross, that's fine. Yeah, because Butcher's scene for me, there's lots of scenes I like, but that's my favourite, I think, for me.
My favourite scene in the film was just as Ollie and I are being a bit emotional, and then we hear a noise, and then we kind of look across to what's going on. And it has nothing to do with the scene. It was just the camaraderie between Grayson and myself when we were doing that scene. It was one of those days where we came on film set and we started laughing, and we had to do that whole scene with Rachel, and we were still laughing, and then we had to carry that into one of the most serious scenes which we won't talk about. We were still laughing, and I just had a great day constantly. Trying to act and not just giggle continuously. So that is for all the wrong reasons. That was one of the best days.
I like that a lot. So Grayson, would you say that's your scene, or do you have another one you like?
It's the thing. It is to do with Ross. I completely agree, because just quickly on that scene, there's, again, we're meant to be really serious, but there's one point where Ross is looking at Rebecca, and for some reason I just burst out laughing in front of the camera. I just couldn't do it. So it was a fun day, but probably one of the hardest. Working with him, I go around, yeah, he's professional, but he makes your life so hard. Honestly, when you're trying to work. But my scene was in the lab. When we're in the lab, again, it's not necessarily about the scene itself. Obviously, we touched on the picking up the test tube. But again, it's the whole doing a scene with Ross where we're looking in we jump at a certain bit and we end up kind of holding each other. And every time that the camera's not on us, he starts to bring my hand down further and further. And I'm trying to be serious with who I'm working opposite. And I'm like this because I'm trying to keep it serious. But no, any scenes, guys, I loved it. But honestly, any scenes working with Ross were my favourite, just because it was great fun to work with. And yeah, he brought out the best of me and the worst.
And Zara, do you scene that you particularly are fond of?
There's quite a few, same as Matt. I really enjoyed all of the action scenes, so the butcher scene, The sort of the end fight scene was a really good day. I think I think Tom and I really enjoyed that day. I think Tom. I think for me, being sort of the producer as well, or one of the producers, there's a lot of scenes that we shot that I love doing the scenes, but there was always something else, on another responsibility or something else sort of to organize or to do as well. So all of the scenes, I remember doing the scenes, but I also remember kind of some of the stresses and some of the, the harder bits to kind of, get around and think about what we needed maybe for the next day and things like that as well. So for me, it was quite tough kind of juggling, those plates and wearing the different hats. But I really liked the fight scenes. I really enjoyed the very first day we shot at the Titanic Hotel, and that was the very first day of shooting, and that was with myself and Ross. We were in the apartment. I just felt that all of the hard work in pre-production had finally kind of come to light, and we're actually now shooting. So that was an incredible feeling. I really enjoyed doing that scene. It felt really relaxed, and I enjoyed kind of doing the wooden dummy scene and then acting with Ross as well. And I think that really set the tone for the rest of the shooting for the film as well. So I really enjoyed that day. And another scene is when all of us are together, because Shad was kind of part of the sort of A-team, if you like, as well. But I think I enjoyed that when we were all in that opening scene. Tom's character arrives as myself, and Ross, Rachel, Grayson, Shad, and I think I really enjoyed that scene when we're kind of all together, because that was for me how the start of the filming, the start of kind of of block one, because we had 3 blocks to shoot, the first block, and I think that's what kind of that first block of filming really cemented our friendships, and everything's developed since there. So yeah, a few different scenes, but definitely those ones stick in my mind.
That's cool. And Rachel, you got anything that sticks out?
Well, I have kind of moments. So from watching it, so not exactly my experiences, but from watching it, the moment I love is the chemistry between Ross and Zara at the end, and they start talking about where they would go.
Yeah.
But that chemistry there, it was just, you got into the characters and you got them. And so I'm kind of like, I like to watch characters. And so that was a moment. And then the other one was Tom, when he was walking down the stairs and calling a policeman wearing a traffic cone. Like, he did that, and I was bursting out laughing around the corner, and I couldn't help it, because he kept going, traffic cone, just honestly, that was brilliant. I was just laughing a lot over Tom's character and his actor. It was just great. But my favourite moment for me personally on set would have been the scene with Ross and Gray, and just the stuff that was going on.
Sounds like an awesome set to have been on, so that's cool. But, yeah. And Thomas, favourite scene? I mean, there's a few for
you. Favourite day was definitely the last day when it was all finished. I'll tell you that. Yeah. From a producer's point of view, that was obviously I had an amazing time on set with these guys, and as you can tell, we did like, it was tough at times, but we had fun as well. One of my favourite scenes, and I don't know if it's gonna really. Obviously, I loved the 16-hour day or whatever it was, just pure Hong Kong style, hitting the pavement. It was amazing. It was proper fun. But there was a scene with me and Ross in the barn, and I get to show a side of my character for a little split second. You see like a vulnerable side to Rich, you know what I mean, where he's talking about his father and that, and he half looks like he's going to cry for a split second or something like that, where he's talking about his dad. I really like the way that come out. I like the way me and Ross were conversing with each other, and the way it came through, the way it was shot, everything. Yeah, I really enjoyed that day, as well as there was so many, but that one sticks out to me.
It's another really powerful scene that
I
really enjoyed, because again, it was the characters, and you got to learn a little bit more about the characters. So again, yeah, you smashed that, guys.
Yeah, I liked it.
I think that's another one of the ways. It's another one of the ways that and I don't mean to sound pandering or condescending to anyone, but this movie did surprise me a lot. because I kept seeing, like I said earlier on Facebook, I kept seeing the behind the scene photos and some of the little clips and everything, and I was like, yeah, it looks good and everything. But then you get into there, and there's a horror movie here, there's an action movie here, there's a hell of a lot of heart here, there's amazing character beat moments that I genuinely like. I was like, yeah, this film's dope as shit. Really, really like this film. And it's one of the reasons why when I got asked if I would like to sit down with you guys, it was 100%. I was like, you're damn right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to sit down and crack these. And I want to try and help push this movie. The movie comes out on August 17th in the UK. You've had your online premiere, which I still think was awesome. I love the fact that people are going down different roads to make sure people are getting to see the projects. What would you say to get people to watch this movie, just from your personal point of view? We'll start with Matt, because it's your I guess your movie.
To watch the film, I just say I don't think there's anything quite like it at this moment in time. If you're an action horror fan, you've got so much going on in the film. Like you say, you've got twists, you've got turns, you've got interesting characters, you've got martial arts, horror. Some very interesting different characters get introduced partway through, because obviously we've got the other character in the film which we haven't really touched upon tonight, Maya, who comes into the film. So you've got all of these different complexities going on, but in the same ball game, you're trying to put in your martial arts. You got obviously lots of nice action scenes and suspense, as well as some tense moments. So I think there isn't quite another British film like it, maybe ever. They have done, obviously there's been British horror films, British maybe martial arts films, but not one that kind of blends it in this way. And obviously, Zara was mentioning before about the Liverpool element. We've shot it all in Liverpool, a few scenes in Manchester, so it's very, very, northern influenced. I know a lot of these type of films will be shot in a studio, probably in Pinewood or Shepperton, but not this one. We got all real life locations, particularly for the underground scenes. We got some amazing, the underground of Liverpool. We've used practically every underground we could possibly find, in Liverpool to throw into the movie. And, it's probably the flagship movie of the year for Liverpool, for sure. So, yeah, it also boosting a lot of primarily homegrown, it's all homegrown talent as well. Mm-hmm. Not to mention the fact that all the cast do all their own stunts. There's hardly a stunt double in sight in the whole movie. So there's a lot of great things to say why to watch this film. But I hope people just enjoy it for fun, because it is a whole lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I'll hold my hands up there. It's a hell of a lot of fun. Quickly, while we're on that, Matt, as well, you're talking about shooting primarily in Liverpool and everything. So the scene as Thomas and the Maya character are about to go into, I guess you would call it the fight pit, I guess, or whatever you guys would call it. That archway, was any of that set design? You've got the big, it's sort of like a tunnel with a bit of an archway.
That was actually a real location we've got in Liverpool. Yeah, it's the old disused Dingle tunnels. We found a particular section of it that looked very cinematic. Then obviously we got set design in. We got Tony Dodd, Tom's sister, and Natalie Burns, who was great. So they both came in. They did a really great job in trying to mock it up to look like a very much like Crun's lair, let's say. And we got some nice hieroglyphics on the wall. We mocked it up to suit what we wanted. But yeah, we were very lucky when it came to locations. We got some fantastic ones.
Definitely. My main problem there was that there was a good little bit of back and forth going on between the two characters, and I just couldn't, like, in the background, I'm just looking at this set thing thinking, that just looks gorgeous. That might sound sad on my part. I really don't know, and I don't really care. It's my podcast. So, Ross, if you were trying to sell the movie and trying to get people to watch it, what would be your sort of go out and watch it now pitch?
Really, really must see it, because it's a very strong cast who have used a unique bond while they filmed to push their characters to a new element. And I think, having worked, extensively in film for all my career, you often don't get a chance to bond that much with your cast. You're flying around, you're jumping into hotels, you're filming, you're flying onto another project. But with this project, the way we shot it in these segments gave us such a chance to bond. And that bonding most actors get when they do theatre tours, because they are, away with each other, touring from city to city to city 7 days a week. We got that on this film because of the way we shot it. I think, like other films where I've heard actors say the same things, is things like Lord of the Rings, because they worked together for such a long time. The friendship they built was like a brotherhood and sisterhood friendship. I think we achieved that on this film because of the way it was shot. So we all trusted each other. So it's a film worth watching, because you see some real truthful acting in it between characters that really enjoy working together. So it is very unique for me as well.
And who out of the group here is going to tell me when Tribal 2 starts filming? I'm waiting.
As soon as possible, if to be honest, obviously, I personally would love to see a Tribal 2, but I think it's too early days to.
Oh no, exactly.
To talk about it just yet, but it would be great. I just hope lots of people love the movie and love all the characters, like Ross was saying. There's a great character ensemble in the film. They all play off each other so well. And I think that comes across on screen.
I always find it best to leave any interview on an awkward moment, so that's why I did that. But I'm gonna wrap it up now a little bit. But on the way out, I'm 100%. This is one of these movies that Evolutionary Films picked it up, and they're going to be putting out in the UK. I'm really pumped for people to actually see it, so I'll be pushing it as much as possible when it lands. But before we leave, why don't you all just say a quick little goodbye, let people know where they can find you, and if there's anything interesting coming up from you guys as well.
Okay, so you can follow me on Instagram at Rachel Warren Actress, and then Rachel Warren Actress on my Facebook page, and you can Google it, and then it'll be there as well. I have another film, I can't say too much at the moment, being released this year, but keep your eyes out on my Instagram, and I will be saying as and when I'm allowed to say that. I've just shot a pilot TV series, so that, and then I actually recommended Grayson, I call him Gray, and then we've just been working together on that. And then, I know also that Give Them Wings feature film that I was in, that should be released early next year as well. So I've got 2 films coming to be released, and then some that I'm not allowed to I can't say anything yet, but I should be on set if COVID allows soon.
Always my favourite conversations. I can't tell you anything about it, but I'm doing it. So, Grayson, where can people find yourself, some of your work, and what you've got coming up?
Yeah, so on Instagram, Facebook, and as much as it's cringe as everyone to say, I'm on TikTok as well. It's at Grayson J. Matthews.
You are getting edited out of this.
Hey man, that's one thing that got me through lockdown. I'm not going to lie, and it kept my creativity alive.
I'll give you that.
No, and as Rachel said, yeah, what I've got coming up, we both shot on a pilot together, which is great. It was interesting to work with Rachel again on something else, not as our characters from Tribal, so it'd be interesting for people to see that. And again, like she said, there's not really much else I can say at the moment on that.
We're not allowed to.
And Zara, are we going to be seeing you kicking and punching the screen up anytime soon again?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I hope so. So you guys can find me at Zara Fidian on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and LinkedIn as well. I don't do TikTok. Grayson.
Thank God for
Yeah, I've got a couple of things sort of in pre-production at the minute. Unit 19, which is kind of Mad Max meets sort of post-apocalyptic action. So I'm looking forward to that one. Another sort of action thriller called The Asset, and I'm also working as a presenter on a martial art documentary, which I'm really looking forward to. I've got my usual businesses to take care of, but yeah, so lots of things that are coming through as well for consideration. So super grateful for that. But just want to quickly say, just because I know you're finishing up now, just a big thank you to all the cast and Matt as well as the director of Tribal. It was absolutely a blast to work with everybody. So proud of everybody. It was a collective team effort. Tribal comes out on Monday, the 17th of August. So yeah, I just really hope that the UK fans love it as much as you do, Kevin.
Yeah, I hate doing these things because I always just gush over everything.
Like Ross over me.
and Ross, busy man as always. You got anything coming up you can talk about, or are you again going to be tight-lipped?
I've had a mess of stuff come out this year, TV shows, films. I've got more films coming out later in the year. Just easy, just Google my name, Ross O'Hennessy, it's all there. Awesome.
And Thomas, you're going to be playing a villain anytime soon again? Get your shitbag chops out again?
Let's see about that. So you can catch me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Google, as Ross says. I've got, we're obviously talking about future projects with different people. Besides the speculation around Tribal 2, which is rampant at the minute. I've also got another project in the pipeline called Shylock, which is a Shakespearean-based high-octane action thriller. I'm just, at the minute, just sorting all the business side and all the pre-production and the pre-business and the pre-deals, and just hopefully I'm not going to say no more than that, but yeah, I've got that on it.
That's cool. And Matt, where can people find your work, and what have you got coming up?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, Instagram as Kung Fu Matty with 2 Y's. That's because I did open the account and then I forgot my password, so the other one was So I'm on and Facebook I'm on under MJR Pictures mainly, which is more of like a magazine to promote martial arts, action, movies, people in the movies. So yeah, I just hope everyone really enjoys the movie. Please go out and rent it, buy it, August 17th on all digital platforms.
Yeah, and like I say, when it does drop, I'll be trying to promote it on the website as much as possible. And this episode will go out probably round about the same time as the movie drops, which will be awesome as well. And I just want people to see it. But I mean, the reviews that everybody seems to be quite favourable towards the movie, and it's doing well amongst us lot. Let's hope that transfers to the masses. This has been absolutely brilliant. Wasn't expecting all of yous though.
Surprise!